Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all the ships at sea. Okay, we're going to be taking another look at something called true crime films.
One second, though. 1 second. The ships at sea. I don't. I get seasick, so I don't do cruises.
Okay.
But can you get Wi-Fi on ships these days? So will people see us on their phones?
Well, Walter Winchell was able to get his radio signal out to the ships at sea.
And he's the one who coined the phrase.
And that's the one who coined the phrase, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all the ships at sea. Okay, so he was able to get his radio signal out to the boats, to the men and the women that were, patrolling the great Pacific and the great Atlantic. I don't know so much about the Baltic, okay, and the Indian Ocean was probably out, but the other ones they got.
So if anyone's on a Royal Caribbean cruise right now watching, please let us know in the comments below. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That would be very nice.
Save room.
Okay, so now I'm dealing only with movies that are true crime movies. I'm not dealing with like great films about heists that were not true.
Okay.
Because if you're going to do that, then of course, then Taking of the Pelham 1, 2, 3 is number one.
Oh,
okay?
love
that's
it.
That's not a true crime. Okay?
The original, of course, they made it 3 times.
Of course, they made the original one with any movie with Robert Shaw is always always worth watching. But I'm going to start off with what I think is the greatest true crime film of all time, French Connection. Now I have to make an announcement that Sonny Grasso, okay, who was one of the people involved in the French Connection, Roy Scheider played him in the film, was a very, very close dear friend. All right. So that was his opportunity to put this movie out. He was involved with it, and then he became a producer and a director, and also worked on a number of different police films, including the 7 Ups and a number of other things. So French Connection, number one.
1 second. Is Jack Nicholson in French Connection?
No, Jack Nicholson is not. Okay. The French Connection, okay, was a
He was in Chinatown.
He was in Chinatown, which is not a true crime.
Right.
Or is it?
Gene Hackman is in the French Connection, and Roy Scheider is in the French Connection. Okay. And
not everyone was French. So who's the French person in the movie?
It's Jacques Too-Tight, I believe, is his name. But the number two is a tie between, and I will throw this out for Jonesey, In Cold Blood. Okay, with
great movie.
Dog Day Afternoon.
Also,
Attica.
Phenomenal movie, true story about a guy who robs a bank in order to get a sex change operation for his gay lover. Okay,
very timely
now, but back in the 70s was just absolutely mind blowing.
Right,
okay? And I believe in real life he called the local rock station, and Scott Muni kept him on the line for a while to calm him down and played Desperado by the Eagles for him.
Okay. My number 3 film is a film. Now, maybe people have not seen this. It goes back, and I know I get yelled at.
Is it in color or black and white?
It's from 1932.
There we go.
Okay. It's called Call Northside 777. All right. It is a film with Jimmy Stewart, a very early film with Jimmy Stewart, who plays a newspaper reporter, and a guy by the name of Richard Conte. Okay. It was regarding a murder of a police officer in a speakeasy, which the guy was convicted, apparently wrongly. 11 years after he's convicted, his mother writes an ad in the newspaper and says, anyone have any information about this? I believe that my son was wrongly convicted. The guy's name, real life, was John Majek, Majczek. Okay. And
James Cagney in it?
Cagney's not in the film.
You done that? No?
No, he's not in the film. But Jimmy Stewart plays one of the newspaper reporters who ends up investigating it and then he gets exonerated. It's a phenomenal movie. It's
just
sometimes
told us the
on
end.
Turner Classic.
You just talked.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
we go with
Well,
Wolf
it's
of Wall Street.
1932. I think it's grandfathered in that he could do a spoiler.
Well, I mean, it's a true story. So, I just told you it's a true story. You can look it up and just
1932.
Everybody knows that story.
Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street in color, Vinny.
Yeah.
Okay, in color. Phenomenal movie.
That's with
That guy.
guy from the Polaroid commercials. What's his name?
I was Bober.
No. That's a line from Saturday Night Fever when his girlfriend's describing Laurence Olivier. You know, the guy from the Polaroid commercials.
And Tony Manero says, oh, he's good.
Oh, he's good. He's good.
Good. And he has no clue who he is.
Laurence Olivier. No, I'm talking about Leo DiCaprio.
Leo DiCaprio is
Leo, let me tell you, Leo, I don't think he's ever done a bad movie.
No. No, when he was 16, in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, he's like phenomenal. He blows Johnny Depp
Come on.
away.
Name a bad Leo DiCaprio movie. Yeah, you at home, put it in the comments. I can't think of one. He's really good.
I wasn't crazy about Basketball Diaries because I had met and dealt with Jimmy Carroll a number of times.
Who?
And I
Jimmy Cagney?
Jimmy Cagney, Carroll. So I
Jim
had
Carroll, for those who don't know, is a man of literature in the punk rock circles, and also had the hit song.
all the people died.
And
played
you're probably too close to the situation now.
He played
Sorry?
basketball?
Yes,
Well,
he did. He
not
did
professional.
play basketball. He used to. He was a basketball player, but I mean, he got interested in punk rock music and poetry, and he started hanging out with that punk rock crowd. He ends up, basically offing himself.
I played a lot of basketball through the years. You may recall
Stanford?
I was the captain of the West Orange Cowboys junior and senior year.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
A lot of Cowboys on a basketball court.
Didn't you have the winning shot?
No, I didn't have the winning shot, but my friend did. So
No.
I was under the basket watching it go through, and I would.
Isn't that called 3 seconds where I come from?
No, it's not 3 seconds. So, what were we saying? Leo DiCaprio, not a bad movie, but not too many punk rockers playing basketball. So, I have to watch this Basketball Diaries now because I'm intrigued.
All right.
But I will tell you this.
Well, he was a city boy, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
True crime movies.
East 2-9.
I thought that
Yes. Right. So,
was it your babysitter, or I don't know who it was, but your babysitter's brother, John Travolta.
My babysitter's brother.
There you go. Yeah. John Travolta.
Ellen Travolta, for those of you scoring at home, Ellen Travolta lived down the road from me, and she was older. She was looking for money. She was going to school, and she was working over in the Broadway, and she would be a babysitter for myself and my sister and my brother.
She wasn't working at the
sister of John
pizzeria?
Travolta.
She wasn't working at the pizzeria on 86th Street?
No, there was no. She was not working at the pizzeria.
At Lenny's?
And it was before Chachi and the rest of them. So
Okay.
Lenny's closed last year.
I know. Lenny's Pizza finally closed. John Travolta showed up for it, by the way. That's where you got the slices on top of each other. Now, John Travolta nailed John Gotti. I mean,
wrong.
he was great. He was a great John Gotti.
I thought he was an excellent.
I knew
But
you
I'm a
were
big
gonna.
fan.
I predicted your John Gotti situation, but that film I think got the lowest of any rankings or ratings of any movie I've ever seen.
But not because of John Travolta.
No,
Nailed it. He nailed it, Dapper Don.
who was it?
Felt like
Sammy the Bull guy brought it down.
Yeah, I think so.
Sammy the Bull, played by Charles Nelson Riley, brought it down.
That would be fantastic.
So I want to give you another great true crime one because this is related to Port TV.
No town.
Where I work, every night, 8 to 10 live. I also have a show called Accomplished to Murder on the weekends.
Excellent, excellent.
Yes.
I watch every evening.
Al joins me on Monday nights. But anyway, Monster.
Oh, yes, I agree with you. Phenomenal.
Monster. Where Charlize Theron, who is like a supermodel, right? They turn her and make her look like this female
Jonesey.
Jonesette.
One of the most notorious female serial killers who worked as a lady of the evening, but not the kind that you would go to like a brothel for, the kind that would be hanging on the street, who would prey upon her Johns. And that movie was really well acted. And then if you watch The Real Monster from the Real Court TV files, she nailed it. She nailed it. And the movie, the story and everything else, the way they put it together, I thought was really fascinating how you could take a serial killer's life and make it like intriguing and actually have a range of emotion about what was going on.
I'm going to throw another film out. I mentioned it just briefly. It was a film called Snowtown, which was a film about the bodies in the barrels murders and a serial killer by the name of John Bundy. And it's a phenomenal movie. It's something that people don't really know about. It's a far.
Is it 16 millimeter black and white, or is it talk? Is it
no? It's actually
is it a talkie?
It's a talkie. Okay. Going back on, I agree. Monster is phenomenal. The movie Munich is phenomenal. That's another true crime film that dealt with the situation with regards to the execution of those Olympic athletes.
Oh, no, that was really good. I should see that one.
I remember that was such a traumatic event when I was a kid, 1972 Olympics. Listening to it, I was only like 11, but still, it was powerful.
Judgment in Nuremberg, another phenomenal movie that dealt with the crimes, the trials of the Nazi individuals that were brought up in front of Nuremberg. It was the first Nuremberg trial. There was actually 4. But this was the first one where the biggest names, Goering and Rudolph Hess and stuff like that, were all brought into the situation. That's a phenomenon.
Listen, there's a new one, Jonesy. You need to watch this one. All right, it's on the Netflix. You have Netflix?
No, I do not. But
I do.
Okay, use Al's passcode.
Now, what's your passcode?
My passcode is Travail Stanford. That's my
It's called Griselda, and the tagline is from Pablo Escobar. The only man I ever feared was a woman, and her name was Griselda. This is the woman who back in and this is like the heyday of Miami cocaine disco era.
Yeah.
And she was this Colombian woman. I don't want to give out too much because you really need to watch each episode of this. But playing Griselda, okay, Sofia
Vergara.
The woman from Modern Family. I don't never know how to say her name. The beautiful woman, makes millions of dollars.
Married to Al Bundy.
Married to Al Bundy on on the other show.
Oh, her.
Yes, and they give some treatment to her face.
Aesthetics, yeah.
So you look at her, and they jack up her teeth a little bit. So you look at her, and she looks somewhat familiar, but not really. But you hear her voice. But she is going to win. I don't know if she'll be eligible for an Oscar or an Emmy for this.
I think it would be an Emmy. Yeah,
it might be an Emmy. Yeah, because it's a series.
If it's a mini series, yeah.
She should win, and I think she will win. What a great job she does.
Good for her to get to show her dramatic chops. I love seeing comedians like balling out like that.
And you'll love it, Jones, because it's legit. Like people are smoking the whole time.
I love that whole scene. Yeah,
I think there should be a drinking game when you watch the series. Every time someone lights up a cigarette, you got to take another But it's
So
so.
you just have a cigarette.
Yeah, there you go. No, because you probably end up dying. They have so many cigarettes in this movie, but it's it takes you back. It's Miami Vice. It's all of that. But it shows you like the evolution of it all and how it kind of the Columbia connection and the lives. And then after you watch the series, then do what I do with all these true crime things. And I don't know if you do this, Al. After you watch a true crime movie, I go on my phone and then that's the true story, and then there's always someone who compares the two, what was real.
Right.
That's fascinating.
Well, we remember we did a show on when we had beef, okay, that was
Where's the beef?
me vetting the fact that I was like frustrated about these movies that are based on a true story. And then I would take a film and show you how historically it was inaccurate or whatever the situation was. But you're 100% correct. That's why I do the same exact thing. I take a look to see where it went and what went on from there. Another film that I want to just bring up is Serpico. Another
Great movie.
Yeah.
Movie.
another film from the gritty 70s, the New York 70s. I mean, just watching those movies. Anyone who's ever been to New York now, okay, needs to watch like Dog Day Afternoon or French Connection or Serpico to see what the New York was when the three of us were growing up.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then
gritty as hell.
The cops were telling people, don't go out after 6 o'clock at night. Be afraid of this. Stay away from this. Stay away from there. I don't believe it.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? That was the announcement on the news every night.
Yes,
That's right.
every night at 10 p.m. on Channel 5 in New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Hey, there are three that I can't believe nobody brought up, and I wonder why.
I only brought up the best, Jonesy. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm thinking like Donnie Brasco, and Goodfellas.
Well, all right. Now, Donnie Brasco, I will agree on. The thing about Goodfellas is that it got I mean, I agree that Goodfellas is a true crime, kind of.
Lufthansa
It did
Heist.
go a little bit beyond where it was, although it was based on real people, so I do agree on that. Donnie Brasco is a phenomenal movie, and that is a very good true crime film. I was trying to stay away from the ones that are like exceedingly well known.
Yeah.
I was like going back a couple of years, but Donnie Brasco, I met Joe Pistone a number of times. In fact,
too.
I mean, it's just a phenomenal movie. This is a guy from Patterson and then lived in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, and that he was able to become basically almost a made man in the mafia.
Oh, yeah.
It's just insane.
And
by the way,
Vinny, you have had him on your show numerous times, the real Donnie Brasco.
Yeah. And the first time
we had him on Joey Reynolds.
Yeah. First time I interviewed him was on the phone, and he's speaking like the first two sentences. And the first thing I said to him was that Johnny Depp got his voice down. Like, because I wasn't looking at him as I'm listening to it, and I'm listening and I hear Johnny Depp, and it was pretty amazing.
When I interviewed him for radio theatrical purposes, I announced at the beginning of the show that we're coming to you live from an undisclosed location, and our guest has been brought to us, driven into the driveway in the trunk of a car. Because for those who don't know, the mafia was after him.
Oh, they were after him. Big
And that's how I get delivered to Court TV every Monday night. So keep that.
Hey, so you mentioned Goodfellas, Jonesy.
Yes.
You want to hear? Do you know about my family connection to Goodfellas?
No, I don't.
Okay, so the main character played by Ray Liotta, you know how he got jammed up, right?
Yes.
It was how?
Well, he got on drugs. He was picked up for drug distribution.
Dealing coke.
You got jammed up for fixing the basketball games.
Oh, right. That was
Boston College point shaving scam out of Boston College. And there were three players on that team on Boston College who were implicated. One of them was a point guard who was dating a woman from Lyndhurst, New Jersey. So he needed
home of Aldo's Hideaway.
Yeah. Well, also the home of the law firm of Checky and Politan, and the point guard's wife knew that the best lawyer in town was my dad. So my dad represented the point guard from the shaving scandal, and he's the only one that didn't get charged.
Wow.
So
I didn't realize that.
And that's all connected to Ray Liotta's character in
Henry Hill.
yeah,
Henry Hill.
Henry Hill gets jammed up in that shaving scandal.
Now, when you talk about like real life and real crime versus the movies, Ray Liotta, handsome, charming, wonderful, charismatic, Jersey boy. The real guy that he portrayed, not so much so. We've interviewed him as well.
Well, and that's a tribute to, a true actor. Now, having been in a movie with Ray Liotta and a number of other dignitaries,
Sylvester Stallone, Harvey Keitel.
Yes. A little film. It was a.
You may have heard of it.
Copland, which was filmed where I live. Okay,
and you were in it. You were in it.
Yeah. Well, I'm in a number of scenes that are, what do they call that?
And floor.
The cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Hey, Al, was that based on any real crime, or was that just
no? It was a novel.
Yeah, because his character, Sylvester Stallone's character, is playing like a sheriff, and in New Jersey, the sheriff really has a very limited role in law enforcement. They run the courthouses and a few county parks, but in other states like Florida, the sheriffs do most of the law enforcement, most of the arrests, the big busts, etc. I think in New Jersey, the role of the sheriff has really been diminished.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, he was the sheriff of a town that was nothing but police officers, and they were all police officers from New York. So first and foremost, if you're a police officer in New York, you cannot live in New Jersey to begin with. Okay, right. So I mean, right there, that was completely false. And then the fact that it was a town nothing but police officers, also, was completely far-fetched. So it was not based on anything true, but. I was in several scenes with Ray Liotta, which
any nudity in your scenes?
Yes, I tried to make sure that I did that constantly. I figured I could get in a lot more time in the film if I was.
I'm waiting for the director's cut. What was your character?
Did you wear pasties, Al? Did you wear pasties or not?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that. I have a solid ironclad contract with regards to my nudity. And there was also that snack pack commercial.
He has a clause in his contract that requires nudity.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Unless I can be naked.
Absolutely. I need a death scene and nudity. That's the two things I require in everything I'm in.
And that's
very hard. And that was very hard in my snack pack commercial. But nonetheless.
Vinnie, you seem to light up when I mentioned Blow.
Oh yeah, that was it.
That was a great movie. That was a very good movie, and based on a true story.
And again, Johnny Depp. I mean,
right?
Great actor, like crazy, like loony, like crazy real life, but like getting into his part. Like he gets so deep into his parts. Like he became Captain Jack after he did those pirate movies. Like he's. Like in real life, he starts dressing like him. It's crazy. But that's how deep he gets into him. And the thing with Johnny Depp that we learned at his trial on Court TV, which I have a show on every night from 8 to 10.
I watch.
I'm on Mondays.
Johnny Depp, I think deep in his heart, never really, he wasn't someone who grew up and said, I want to be an actor. He wanted to be a rock star. He was a musician first, but he's in LA and he stumbles into this part because someone says, hey, you should try out for it. He's a real good looking young guy. He's got kind of this look and he gets a couple parts very quickly, including Jump Street. And then from there, the acting thing kind of drives him. And then he uses his acting celebrity and money to fuel his real passion, which was music. and he ends up. I think he toured with Jeff Beck before he died, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
played with Jeff Beck,
Yeah.
and he played with Alice Cooper, and he played with. I mean, you name. I mean, like his band is phenomenal. I went to a whatchamacallit, an unveiling of like he had they had put out a CD, and I mean it was unbelievable. I mean, he was very talented guitarist.
Now, do you think his band was better than what's it called, Dog Star, Keanu Reeves' band?
Well, I shared a urinal with Keanu Reeves, so I'm a little closer to him than
I shared the urinal with John McEnroe.
Okay, was there a vanity shield or splash guard?
Yes, yes.
Hopefully not.
And folks, Vinnie Politan is the gentleman who was responsible for the sanitation papers that were put into the stalls of the old Court TV offices on 39th and 3rd, New York City, USA.
I was responsible for the urine cakes.
Yeah, well, we had bathrooms, and we didn't have, like, the little paper that you got to put down on the
Right.
thing. And I'm like, this is not right. So
Did they have that at Stanford?
yes, we did. In Green Library, down in the basement, best bathrooms, nice and quiet. So, but
Man could do a lot of thinking there. That's good.
exactly. Well, to me, it was a little outrageous that we didn't have this. So I wrote a strongly worded. Now, if we had a school newspaper, it would have been a letter to the editor. But instead, I believe it was a strongly worded email to the office manager, and we got it done. And then I wanted to run for student council, but we didn't have one.
Well, while we're on the topic of Johnny Depp, Black Mass was actually also a very good movie with him.
I don't know that one.
Okay, that's where he played what's his name, Whitey Bulger.
Oh,
That's called Black Mask.
Yeah, Black Mass.
It's about Whitey Bulger.
Yes, it is.
Very counterintuitive.
It's excellent. It's called Black Mass. It's very well done.
I want to see that. I haven't seen that, and I want to see that because I'm sure
He's you got to see him as Whitey Bulger. He's absolutely frightening.
Is he
really
better than Jack Nicholson in
Yes.
Pod?
Yes.
In the
Yeah,
Pod.
because Jack Nicholson is playing a character like Whitey Bulger. This one was actually playing Whitey Bulger. And it was with the guys, so he was with his gang. They were the murders that went on with Whitey Bulger. There's the interface with his brother, which is fascinating.
Black Bulger?
His brother is Benedict Cumberbatch. He plays the brother in it, and he's excellent.
Wait. Benedict Cumberbatch is that the actor's name or Whitey's brother?
That's the actor's name. He's the guy that he's a British actor, but he plays Whitey Bulger's brother.
He be doing Shakespeare like Benedict Cumberbatch? Acting?
Stanford. So the SAT optional for those of you looking in the Barron's book.
The real name of
SAT
Stanford.
optional Stanford.
Well, this is what throws people off when you say, "Where'd you go to school?" And I'll say Leland Stanford Junior University.
Oh,
And people feel like you went to junior college because you say Leland Stanford Junior University, but it's Leland Stanford Junior University because it was named after Leland Stanford Jr., who, as a young child of a carpetbagging family, passed away.
weren't you a male cheerleader or a mascot at Stanford?
Well, we didn't have cheerleaders. We had dollies.
Dollies.
They were called the Dollies, the Stanford Dollies, and they would dance with the Stanford tree because our nickname is the Stanford Cardinal, which is not the bird, but the color cardinal, like cardinal red. So
I'm like flipping you the bird during this story.
Right. We used to be the Stanford Indians back in the time of the glory days of the football team, led by our Native American quarterback, Jim Plunkett. But soon thereafter, maybe during Plunkett's time, they dropped the Indian, and one of the first teams to drop the Indian mascot because of, feelings that it was demeaning to the Native Americans, including our star quarterback, Jim Plunkett.
And you played the role. Weren't you the tree or something though?
I was going to try out to be the tree because in college I was a big break dancer and I
The
wanted
tree doesn't leave. That's the that was their motto.
I wanted to be a breakdancing tree, but instead of dedicating my time there, I dedicated it to KZSU Stanford, 90
There you go.
FM. Did you know that our radio station, at one point, one of the people working at the radio station was a guy named Dolby? Like,
Really?
No. Have you heard of like Dolby Sound?
Dolby Sound.
Yeah, the guy.
So I was hoping for Thomas Dolby. Science.
Yeah. No. The guy that invented Dolby Sound. So he was sort of a technological whiz. So one day as a prank, he went up to our transmitter and increased our signal. So our radio station was broadcast like halfway across America.
50,000 watts.
Yeah. And then soon after, they lost their FCC license for a little while.
I used to do that. As soon as my show started, I would walk over to the transmitter rack and I'd tap the button as many times as I could, taking the power up. The power is supposed to be between 96% and 105% of your power. I would go up to 111.
You wild child. That's where you're picked up all over where? How far would the signal go?
Oh, must go from
to the end of the street.
Al's house.
All right. So we've come to the conclusion: French Connection, best movie ever made for a true crime, followed by In Cold Blood, Dog Day Afternoon, then Wolf of Wall,
Body.
and then the rest of them. All right. So watch the movies, comment about them, and we'll see you real soon. Say goodnight, Jonesy.
Good night, Jonesy.